Are you ready?
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, Tool to Play presents Still Got Game with Derek D. Smooth Nolan and Joel Duda Rock Albert.
If you'd like sponsor Still Got Game, email us at podcast@tooltoplay.com. Hey now! Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Still Got Game, episode 302. Still Got Game is the official podcast of tooltoplay.com. I am, as always, Derek D. Smooth Nolan.
And I am Joel, a dude, Rock Albert.
Joel Dude Rock Albert. We did a couple weeks off here. It's not not the way we'd like to do this, but
I feel bad. I feel bad because we were supposed to have a show last week, and then I got called to do actual real work. I was from neck of the woods, kind of East Coast. I was in New York for the week.
you were in a snowy East.
I was in a shitty, but I left snowy shittiness in Chicago and went to snowy shittiness in the East Coast. It was terrible.
See, it was much worse for me because 2 weeks ago when we missed the show, I was in Hawaii. And then I missed the giant blizzard here that happened in Boston. And I was like, 3 feet of snow, missed that. Came back 2 days after we're back. Well, no, let's dial it back a little bit first. The day after I get back, my Patriots, fucking Super Bowl champions, 4-time motherfucker. Okay, now that I got that out of the way and Tom Brady's God, then 2 days after that, we get another 2 feet of snow. And then tacked on, of course, today, we're up in like another 2.5 feet of snow. So it's been insane here on the East Coast. But that is why we had no shows. It was Hawaii, and then Jay decided to go to New York to sightsee, and he went up to...
That's the reason I went there.
he went up to the Statue of Liberty and the Empire State Building.
Yeah, none of that
dropped
happened.
a penny off.
Not any of it. Totally false.
Then he went to FAO Schwartz and...
right, to play the piano with my feet. It was amazing.
Dun, 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 dun. All right. Yes. So that is why we had no shows, but we are back in fucking effect here, kids. So we will jump right in the meat of the show, and we'll start off with feedback from last week's show. Remember, if you want to leave us a voicemail, it will cut you off after a minute. Donna comments. Why do you keep doing this to me? I miss your voices on my commute when you miss an episode. So skipping more than one really stabs at my heart. Of the show. Wow. Donna, I didn't know that it was such an aggressive thing when we didn't
I wouldn't be so emotionally invested in the show if I was
You could be.
if you want to be, it's fine.
Yeah, it's cool. It's like, look at us. How could you not be? But
I'm just saying, if you have other things to do, it's totally okay with us.
yeah. But if really this is the linchpin to your commute, which I can't say unless you have like a 12-minute commute that you do 5 days a week and you listen to the 60-minute show split over. No, actually, it'd have to be a 6-minute commute because you listen down and back. So maybe you have a job that's 6 minutes away and you get 6 minutes of the show Monday there, the next 6 Monday back, and blah, 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 all the way through Friday. Boom, show's done right in the weekend. And we are the last thing that you heard before you started your weekend. That's in my book, that's a pretty awesome way to spend your week. I don't know.
I hope that's not how you spend your week. But no, if it is, hey, that's really amazing. Also, get other hobbies.
Yes. But we are glad that you enjoy the show, and we're sorry that we let you down over the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, we'll try to rectify.
Yeah. Rectumfy. Dem eyes, though. All right. Guided Missile comments. Recently discovered your show on iTunes, which then took me to YouTube. My next will be maybe my next step will be to watch you guys live one of these days. This show is exactly what I'm missing from the gaming white noise out there.
That makes me happy.
Yeah, Guided Missile, you followed through our progression.
Right.
You found us in the audio version. Then you were like, hey, what do these guys look like? Are they massively fucking handsome? Well, they are. Whoa, boom. The only thing better would be to interact with them live and try to do like some sort of, simulated friendship chat. And I think that's what you got going on right now. So
that's what we are. That's like if we were a video game, we'd be sim friends.
Yes. Like, hey, nice to see you, Guided Missile. We missed you so much. Oh, hug. Like that. See? It's like we're bros. But
we're basically bros.
But we're here and you're there. We have the safety of the internet between us in case you're creepy.
You could be creepy. You could just want to touch us, which would be weird And so we've got this awesome interface called the internet to keep you away.
Yeah. It's a buffer zone, if you will.
Right.
But we are glad we have this buffer between us, but we're also happy you're here, and we're happy you're our virtual friend.
I love that we just like had this new person and then we just shit all over him and now he's gone. That was it. He was in it for like one show and now he's like, well, fuck those dudes. They are like we're the creepy ones now. Somehow we became creepy.
No, but see, maybe he was like, I hope these guys aren't creepy or anything.
Right, yeah.
I'm going to go live. And then all of a sudden we just eased that thing. It's like, wait, they hate creepy guys too. So, maybe we're all on the same page.
Yeah, good thing for this buffer.
But either way, if you're still here with us, God and Missile, we're glad you're here. And last but not least, Arthur Maloney comments. Thanks for reading my comment, giving me an on how Xbox One DRM works with external devices. I thought they were using the Xbox 360 model for DRM. While I won't be buying everything digital, at least I'm a little more comfortable now.
Now that's awesome.
Yeah, that's what we aim to do.
It's awesome that we get feedback. We go into the detail of why we said the things we did. We explain it enough so that the user hears us and comes back and gives us awesome feedback on the round trip. It's pretty sweet.
It's like a conversation that happens, but instead of in real time, we space it over multiple weeks in like, we said this, you say this, we say this, and then we had over a period of a month, we had a full conversation with Arthur Maloney. It's not definitely the most ideal time-wise, but
right.
Like if he was dying and his Xbox was about
please
to
respond immediately. We're like, maybe 3 weeks if you're lucky. We don't know.
Yeah. That's when you want to come on. You want to go on the Twitch stream. Because if you are dying and you need an instant response, you come watch us on twitch.tv/TooLtoPlay live Monday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern, and we could have answered it right away, and you would have your answer, and you wouldn't have to wait. At this point, it was 3 weeks because 2 weeks off. So just, words to the wise.
Yep.
All right. With any of your feedback, give us a call, 773-527-2961, or email us at podcast@tooltoplay.com. And site-related news, I got nothing. I've been away, and it's been wintertime. So,
yeah.
Nothing.
No.
All right. Well, then, Jay, why don't we meander on over into what we're playing? Joel Dude I Rock Albert, what have you been playing this week?
So I haven't really been playing because I've been away at work business and stuff like that. But at the office out there, we have some video games out there, and I played a little Destiny on someone else's account just to show my skills while I was out there. So I did. But that was really all the time I had. I boosted someone. Yeah, nice. I showed them the way. Now they know. Yeah. Nice. What about you? What are you playing?
Well, over the last several weeks, I've done nothing but play Destiny. And Tiff and I even took a games case and one of our Xbox Ones to Hawaii, but not to play Destiny instead of enjoying Hawaii, but more, Tiff's she's kind of a late waker. So in the morning, I wake up, play a little Destiny, and we did have it there to deal with Xur while he was there because he's very time limited. But then got back and done nothing but Destiny. So I have a 32 and 2 31 and a quarters. So,
damn.
Yes, good shit.
I have officially quit the Destiny. Really, I would think that's probably.
Wow.
Yeah, I think officially I've quit. I gave up my spot to BC from Tool to Play, if you guys don't know, and I will probably come back at the next expansion. But I would say that this raid was enough to push me out completely.
Wow.
Sadly. And I'm such a huge fan of the entire franchise, actually. It's one of the best games to come out in the last 5-10 years. So it's nothing against the game itself, but the content wasn't enough to keep me interested. So I'll be waiting until Wolves is out, and then I'll probably come back and start playing again.
Well, if you get bored and you're looking for a spot, we always have an opening on Tuesday, Wednesday nights.
Wednesdays I could be there. Maybe I will hop in Wednesdays.
Yeah, Wednesdays we definitely have an open spot. We like to roll with 2 floaters, but if you wanted that spot when it's time to come back, that spot's all yours.
Yeah, I'm down.
Yeah. And then we can talk about it in the show too, because we'll have common thing to discuss.
Yeah,
yes,
I like that.
Excellent. All right, Jay. Well, there's only one new release out this week, so why don't we hop on over into the new releases? The only new release out this week is a multi-platform release, and it is Evolve. And this is out for the Xbox One and the PS4. This is 2K Games' long-awaited asymmetrical multiplayer shooter from Turtle Rock Studios. 4 players play as hunters in the game in one of 4 classes. That's either Assault, Trapper, Support, or a Medic. The 5th player plays as one of these 4 giant fucking monsters. We checked out this game last year at PAX East, and then again this year at E3. The game's beautiful. It's really a lot of fun, but I have some concerns myself about the replayability and the longevity of the game. And like we were talking before pre-show, if you usually play with a bunch of buddies, how does that play into a game where somebody could be by themselves and 4 people could be on the other side? Like I said, I think it's a great game. I just don't think it fits into my gaming model.
Yeah, it's weird. I mean, we had the discussion earlier. It's a strange dichotomy in that game. It's really, it never feel, because it's, asynchronistic, or asymmetrical rather. It doesn't really fit. Nothing ever really fits. If you go in with 3 people, you don't have enough. If you go in as the one dude, then like we said, I think it almost, believe it or not, fits better with a solo player. Because at least then you're not fucking over a friend. You're not like, oh, you're odd man out. You're going to be the evil dude this time, and you have to fight. Yep. So it's a weird game. I mean, it had a lot of potential. And when we originally saw it, we were actually really intrigued by it. And I must say, even though the game probably isn't going to do well, and sort of just by looking at chat, and again, if you guys were here for the live show, you would be able to discuss this. But live chat's basically saying in the beta and the alpha that a lot of those guys have played, they didn't really like it either. And I have to say, it's at least good that they're making these games. Again, new IP, totally new way to do video games. That's good. That's the good part. So a part of me wants to support it just for that reason, that at least it's a new paradigm inside of gaming that we usually don't get. But it doesn't seem to be playing very well. And so I hate to reward a company for building something that I also don't enjoy. We speak with our dollars just as much as anything else. Yep. But it's a letdown. It's really, I'm a little bummed that the feedback is so lukewarm about the game. It's kind of a bummer.
No, but I think you're absolutely right from what we were saying, is that it almost does, despite being this asymmetric multiplayer thing, it really does cater more to the single player, where you go in solo and now you're the monster. That's fine. You're the monster. You get thrown in as one of the hunters. That's cool. You're playing with 3 other guys and you're killing a monster. But yeah, it just doesn't play to your, like you said, somebody in your group doesn't get screwed over and gets on the flip side or whatever. Maybe they'll change the way that matchmaking works. Like if you come in with more than one person, you're automatically going to be on the hunter side, which that
would be good.
But that changes the game too, because then you will never ever play half of the game.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's true. I mean, I guess because the only way you could do it is you would never want the scenario where 4 of you go in and one of you gets put on the demon side or the monster side or boss side, and then you get a random in your group of 4, and that just doesn't feel very good. So that's what makes it so weird. Like if you don't have, even if you have 5 players, it still feels weird. Maybe you don't want to be the monster when you play, and that's the thing, is I don't know how the game's working. Maybe chat probably actually does know of how the monster thing is set up and how it funnels you in. But that seems to be one of the things that doesn't really make sense to me, is how they could get that to work very well. Yeah. It's almost like, and again, this would make the game not very impressive. The only way to do it is if it was monsters versus hunters, and then it's just a 4v4.
And it's just the same thing we always do.
Yeah, it's okay, it's a multiplayer game. Yeah. So it's like you there's a reason we have like those checks and balances and these things in game that are always used over and over. It's because they work so well and they have for so long. So something like this, maybe in some refinement down the road, it could be cool. But right now, it just feels a little meh.
Yeah, so G40 saying in chat, for those of you missing chat, he's saying that as long as you're in a party, you never get placed as the monster, which is fine. So then you're with your buddies. But then again, like I said, you're
never the monster.
You're never the monster. You're never You might as well just be playing a game with an awesome AI monster at that point, because who's to know that there's even a person playing the other side?
Yeah, that's weird.
It is weird, but I hope they do well. They took a chance with this, and at both PAX East and E3 last year, the lines for this were absolutely batshit insane. Like if you happen to go and play the monster and you had like the stupid free monster like wristband they gave you, it was selling for like $250 on eBay, something that just held your place in line. And there's a lot of interest around this game. So I hope they do well, and I hope they figure out the best way to deal with this matchmaking and keeping people together and make the game interesting, because
agreed,
taking chances is well worth it. All right. Well, Jay, before we hop into gaming news, because we've been out for a couple weeks here, I just want to take a quick note and touch on Joystick because, they've been around for a long time. They were originally an AOL property through Weblogs Inc. We have a lot of friends that work there, and the news came out while I was in Hawaii that basically it was a rumor that they were shutting down. That was later confirmed, and they're going to be this kind of sub part of Engadget at this point, but it's not really the same thing. They're letting their staff go. It's not going to be that same quantity of posts. And for those of you that watch or listen to the show, you know that usually we source at least one, maybe two of our news stories from Joystick each and every week because that's how good they are. And local guys like here in Boston, we have Alexander Slawinski from Joystick, good friend of ours, and we know a lot of their crew, and I hope they all end up in good places. And it's a sad moment, so tip of the hat to the Joystick people. It was the end of an era.
And to be honest, it was an actual shock. I didn't know that the rumors were they didn't even strike me as being very true. And so I think when this did come out, it still doesn't even really make sense to me. It's weird to see a company that is doing really well, at least in my opinion, when it comes to editorial journalism on video games, which is a very rare thing. It's rare to even see that. And so when you see something like that of one of the biggest ones out there, it really makes you wonder like where this gaming journalism thing is going to be. Because look, if Joystick can't make money doing it, that makes it really hard for everybody else.
Who can? Yeah.
Who can? Exactly. Like where is IGN really going to be the only person that is able to sort of be at the forefront of gaming journalism? And if that's the case, if IGN is going to be that barometer, then we've got a lot more problems.
Joystick had so many unique voices among your IGNs, your GameSpots. Now, granted, Polygon was started by a bunch of guys. A lot of the former Joystick guys ended up being the founding guys at Polygon, and they're kind of that voice. But even Polygon is much bigger than video games. It's a big conglomerate, and they cover TV and movies and everything else. And it is a sad time, but we'll see what becomes of it. I really am not expecting much of. I think it's called Joystick X Engadget or
Joystick,
Engadget.
yeah, that's it. Joystick X Engadget,
yeah.
And it's weird because they, not to get too far in this, but they also kind of celebrate that it's happening on the homepage, and I just believe that that's the real feeling going forward. So, I mean, if you go to joystick.com right now, you'll see on the homepage it basically says that they've got a new home, and there's like this exclamation point, like, yay, we've got a home, but they're really downplaying the serious situation, which is a lot of people lost their job, right? So it's not a great thing. I'm glad that they have this new space, and I hope some of those writers will continue over there. But it sucks. Like, there's no way to really look at this and say, oh, this is a good thing. I think it sucks, personally.
Most definitely. All right, Jay. Well, on that sad note, why don't we hop over into gaming news? First story?
How you guys like spam? Huh? Good? Yeah. Microsoft is investigating Xbox Live spam messages. This is apparently a big issue. This is weird because I have not been getting a lot of spam.
Oh, so, I've got 20 in the last 3 days about pizza from Papa John and Domino's.
Wow. I should probably go check to see how many I have now. Yeah. So it's been a week. But anyway, if you haven't noticed, or rather, if you noticed Xbox Live message spam lately, you are not alone. The issue has now become so widespread that one Microsoft's top consumer advocates has spoken out to address this issue, promising that the company is, quote, working on it and offering a temporary fix. Mike Ybarra, Xbox Partner Director of Program Management, wrote on Twitter, quote, those asking about Xbox Live message spam, ... we're working on it. Ybarra suggests that Xbox owners Ybarra suggested that Xbox users, as a temporary fix, select friends only from their privacy settings to weed out any spam messages, which is probably, I still think it's a good thing. For guys like us, it's bad.
Yes.
Right? Like, we can't really do that. But if you're just a normal gamer and that's how you play, I think that's probably okay. He also stressed that users who receive spam messages should report them immediately. It's kind of a no-brainer. A process that should get easier over the next month. A quick search of the Xbox forums for message spam will yield over 1,000 results, with some users reporting that they are inundated with these messages. One user even says he received 30 spam messages in 2 days. This has led to users being concerned, and of course, concerned for their accounts, and thinking that they're in some way compromised, which probably not the case.
No.
But so what are your thoughts? I mean, this spam sucks, and it's weird to it. We get it everywhere in our lives, and it almost at least in gaming, it was like this bastion of safeness, and now it's getting even shit on over there. So, what do you think?
It's annoying, and especially with the pizza ones, they always come with you. And I've never actually, to be honest with you, I've never looked at the actual messages on my Xbox. I always blast them up on the phone and read them there, and they're not clickable. So I'm not sure who is going to get like a random URL from someone and be like, oh, I can't click it, but I might as well go type this into my browser and see what this is all about. Like, no, who's going to do that?
Yeah, it's really weird.
I imagine the click-through rate on this spam or the retype through.
Yeah, how do we even judge that the spam is working?
Yes.
There's no factor to judge if that link was really working, guys.
Yeah,
unless that link has an ID based on the Xbox. I don't know.
Yeah, I have no idea. And I don't know where they're sourcing these people. The problem is you can send Xbox Live messages from the web. So as long as you have somebody else's gamer tag, you can send something there. So yeah, there's not a lot stopping it. I don't think, like they said, nothing's been compromised here. No. What makes the system nice and easy to use is also makes it nice and easy for someone with an Xbox Live account that they don't care about, like a 30-day free trial or a 2-day free trial, just to time their shit out.
Yeah, that's the tough part. It's not like, it's not like you have a hidden email. You don't need really anything other than your gamer tag, which is essentially public information. You go to Xbox, you can search, just, type in anything you want, search, get a whole list. If you have, some people have ways to connect to the API, they can just start pulling down, huge chunks of data every day, sending them somewhere, and then just spamming them out, more than likely with an automated system they've created. So it's really not that hard. And that's kind of the hard part about fixing it. It's like, well, what do we do? Do we take away the awesome freedom of being able to sort of message anyone you meet and be able to meet new people? Because if you do that, it restricts the whole goal of the Xbox Live community. So it's going to be tough. I don't think it's going to be that easy for them to fix.
No, maybe if you exact same message sent out by the same account to X number of people that are not on their friends list, then something gets flagged and they look in the Xbox Operations Center, the ZOC. But yeah, I don't know. It's definitely, it's nice to know that they know it's a problem and they're looking at it though.
Yeah. So this one's gonna warm your hearts, everybody's hearts. We talked about. I feel we've had some issue with swatting at some point. For the last 4 or 5
multiple,
right?
Yes. Yeah, every week something swat. Yes.
So we'll give you a happy ending this week. Not for free, by the way. You always pay for happy endings. Sorry. Video game swatter faces 5 years in prison and additional charges via Polygon. Serious business, people. A Nevada man, and by the way, I suggest after you guys listen to this, go check out his mugshot because it'll just make you laugh for days. It's exactly what you picture in your mind of a swatter living in his mom's basement. So a Nevada man has been arrested and is awaiting extradition to Illinois, my home city, no state, accused of orchestrating a swatting attack on a video game owner over the summer. Brandon Wilson, 19 years old, of course, known by some online people, let's say, Famed God, that was his kick-ass gamer tag, right? Was arrested Thursday, reports the Chicago Sun-Times, my old place of employment. He is accused of reporting a murder, awesome, to Naperville, Illinois police on July 2014, resulting in an armed law enforcement response to that address. Now, if you don't understand, this is why it's so fucking terribly dangerous. If you call the cops and you report a murder, they're going to show up at the place, guns drawn, ready to do battle. This is an accident waiting to happen. We all know that cops, especially suburban cops, by the way, Naperville, very suburban, they can't wait to they've never shot anything in their entire life. They just need a reason to fucking shoot some shit. And this is a perfect one. So, of course, no crime was discovered at the scene. Prosecutors say Wilson had also threatened the victim's banking and social security accounts, adding that he would put the victim's father, quote, into debt for life. After executing a search warrant at Wilson's residence in Las Vegas, authorities say they discovered evidence of the swatting attack, and I'm kind of confused as to what that evidence would be, but okay, and of Wilson's involvement in similar incidents in the United States. Brandon Famed God Wilson is accused of 2 counts of computer tampering and 1 count of intimidation, computer fraud, identity theft, and disorderly conduct. He faces up to 5 years in state of Illinois, excuse me, if convicted. Thoughts?
You know, this is the problem with swatting. It's good to see someone finally getting their comeuppance on this because we have had so many stories lately of swatting. It is a dangerous thing. Imagine, for example, if you're the kind of guy that's in your room, you're playing a shooter and you're like, fuck you, I'm going to fucking kick your ass and kill you, motherfucker. At the same time that SWAT guys are at your door and that's what they hear inside. Forget that they have guns guns out. Guns are going to be blazing. Kick down that door, shoot first, ask questions later. So fucking dangerous. Some of these guys think it's funny. It's a way to get out of their hair, remove somebody that's a threat to them in the tournament circuit or whatever. So, here's your comeuppance, bitch. Fucking go to jail, spend your 5 years, and then think about maybe not making these super dangerous crank calls.
And the worst part about the story is, is the internet, right? The worst part about the story is seeing some of the responses, which are, should our government really be paying for this, silly kid to go to prison? People are on rape charges or getting out even sooner. The thing about that comment is it doesn't really matter. You can't equate the rape to the swatting. They're not equal. We all know that, right? We know that's a terrible thing. The reason the 5-year charge is good is because it's a deterrent for other assholes to do it. If we don't have a steep penalty up front, if we don't give, and I'm sorry that this guy is the first guy to really get hit with it, but someone's got to be the first.
Someone's got to be the first.
Someone's got to be the first asshole. You just won the prize. Congratulations. We need to deter it right away. We need to give a steep penalty. I don't even care if it's 10 years. The guy is putting lives at risk. He's putting officers' lives at risk. He's putting the random poor schmuck gamer's life at risk. If we don't have a steep penalty, this dude is just going to think, or other assholes rather, are going to think it's not a big deal. If we fine him for $1,000, we fine him for $2,000, they're going to go and do it again. They're not even going to care. They're going to think, well, my chance of getting caught is pretty low. And if I do get caught, it's not going to
It's only money.
It's only money. So what do I care? So yes, I know that there are plenty of things in this world when it comes to our judicial system, Jesus Christ, that don't work out well. But we can't it's not apples to apples in this situation. Nope. We all know it's a bad thing. We've got to bring down the ban hammer as quick as possible. And look, federal authorities and other investigators from other states are also going to be pursuing the matter as well. So he may even be brought up on additional charges. So this might not even be the end of it all.
No, there's a reason why when you go to court, they're like, well, there's a precedent here. Well, that precedent is there because something happened first. Someone set a precedent on something new that there hadn't been something done on. So now we have that thing. Let's set it high to avoid the crime in the future.
Yeah, you set it too low. Next guy does it. The lawyer for that dipshit's going to say, Judge, in Nevada, or Illinois in this case, they only gave him a month with probation. How can you have this steep ass charge where you want to put him away for 10 years? It'll never happen. So sucks to be you, but how did you fucking not know? How did you fucking not know? Yep. Right?
Fuck this asshole.
Fuck this asshole. Exactly. All right, next story, and this one's a shocker for me. Really
me too.
Right?
Yeah.
Battlefield Hardline beta hits 6 million players more than the Destiny beta. What? Really? Hardline? All right. Mm. The Battlefield Hardline beta is proving to be incredibly popular as it surpassed the 5 million player mark. Quote, wow. We've passed 6 million players in Battlefield Hardline beta. General manager of developer Visceral Games and executive producer of Battlefield Hardline, Steve Papatustis.
Sounds right.
Get a better name. Said on Twitter, quote, so proud of our team. Glad you're having fun and keep the feedback coming. To put things into perspective, Destiny's beta, which was the biggest for a new IP on consoles, and keep that in mind, it was a new IP, had 4.6 million players. However, Battlefield Hardline's beta has the advantage, of course, of being both PC and the well-established franchise. So there's a lot more of a pool to pull from, and of course, it's a long-standing franchise that everyone is interested in. So yes. You got to kind of be fair. Again, not apples to apples. The beta started on Tuesday, February 3rd across North America, Europe, and all other major territories that the game will ship on, and ended on Sunday. It was available on PC, Origin, PS4, Xbox One, PS3, and Xbox 360. The one exception, of course, Japan, where the beta was not available on the Xbox platforms. Don't know why that is. The Battlefield Hardline release date is March 17th, so it's coming up soon in the US, and March 20th in the UK on Origin for PC. PS4, PlayStation 3, Xbox One, and Xbox 360. Do you give a shit? Derek?
Well, you and I played this at E3.
We did.
And we had high hopes. Now, granted, the setup around the game was amazing.
Yeah.
We had the
Way to suck
RFID
it in.
cards.
Oh, yeah,
We were
it's fantastic.
It was one of the more fun E3
Showmanship
experiences.
was
Yes,
top
yes,
notch for
yes.
Battlefield Hardline. Yes.
Yeah, they had it. We were in police stations. We were in. It was great. But the game, kind of a letdown. It was like, it was Battlefield, but it wasn't Battlefield. It was a cop game. But underlying the cop thing, really, it was just another Battlefield game.
Battlefield, right?
Yeah.
Like we weren't even impressed. We weren't like, oh, look at the step up of graphics. Everything just felt so Battlefield that I wasn't even sure what I was supposed to be amazed about.
And we just happen to have the same number of cops as there were robbers. Like, you want to talk asymmetric multiplayer? Make Battlefield Hardline like you have like the movie Heat. You have 4 armed fucking hilt badass motherfucking criminals that are robbing this thing, and pair them up against 20 or 30 or 40 cops. Like, that's the realistic scenario for something like this. Not, oh, we conveniently each had 32. That we had 32 guys robbing. No one's going to rob a bank with 32 guys. Your cut is too small. Like, it doesn't make sense.
That's totally true.
I know nobody thinks that, do they?
I never thought of the cut being too small. I did think it was ridiculous for 32 robbers, but that was just some arbitrary number. I was like, no, that's just too many robbers. That just never would happen. But now I'm thinking the cut's too small. Why would they? Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want to spread it that thin. Like, if you're coming up with an Uber crime, you're like,
Right.
hey, all right, here's the deal. We're going to rob this bank, and there's going to be $3 million in bearer bonds. And you're like, oh, sweet, there's 3 of us. That's $1 million each. And then they're like, now we're going to split this between 36 of us. You're like, what the fuck? No.
Most of you will die, so that's the upshot. Most of you are going to die, so we could possibly whittle it down to like 23.
Oh, yes. Yeah, no. It's just not my thing. I wanted to like it, and it was fun to play, but it wasn't something that I would ever buy or play regularly.
Yeah, and again, if you like Battlefield, you're going to pick it up anyway, so it's this weird... And again, this is why I like Evolve, right? This is kind of going back to the original thing. I don't like the game per se, but at least it's not Battlefield Hardline. That's the way I look at it. I mean, at least it's a different game. This could be a great game, but if you like Battlefield, you're already going to buy it anyway. I don't know that they're going to pull anyone new into it with the cops and robbers thing, and I think that's their hope. Like, oh, maybe if we do the cops and robbers thing, we'll get some new people into this IP. I don't know if that's going to be the case. I certainly have played Battlefield a lot, actually, and I don't care. So as a person that is a fan of the Battlefield series, I don't see anything new or anything interesting here. So
No, it's not even really sold as a cops and robbers game. Like,
no, you don't even know from the title. You're like
Hardline. Unless you know what it is, you're like, oh, it's another Battlefield game called Hardline. Subtitle Hardline. Then you're like, wait, it's not war. Oh, it's police. Oh, yeah. Like, they didn't even really sell it right, but they wanted to make sure Battlefield was on there. They shouldn't like Battlefield presents even teams of cops and robbers. Like, that's honest selling.
It's a very direct title. Very direct title.
Yeah.
Battlefield.
No one said it's going to sell.
Even teams. That's it. That's the title.
Yep.
That would be amazing if that was their next title. It was just Battlefield Even Teams would be awesome. I would actually buy that because I'd be like, look, they're telling me the truth. I know what I'm getting. I'm in. I'm in.
They're going to be even fucking teams in this game.
No
matter what happens, I got that going for me. Even teams.
Fucking great. I love it. Sign me up.
Oh, shit. All right. So neither of us are getting that.
No.
All right. Moving on.
All right. Next story. This is kind of a sad one. Columbus Nova has acquired Sony Online Entertainment. This is via IGN, which is a mega studio. So this is kind of interesting. But investment firm Columbus Nova has acquired Sony Online Entertainment, the company announced last week, and has rebranded the studio as Daybreak Game Company, LLC, which, before I keep going, big mistake, but whatever. Daybreak will operate as an independent game development studio under a new title, according to the press release, and will continue to work on its MMO-style games, which they're pretty famous for. Quote, we see tremendous opportunity for growth with the expansion of the company's game portfolio through multi-platform offerings, as well as an exciting portfolio of new quality games coming up, including the recently launched H1Z1, and the highly anticipated, of course, EverQuest Next, to be released in the near future, said Jason Epstein, senior partner at Columbus Nova. Columbus Nova is an NYC-based investment firm managing over $15 billion in its own assets and partnering portfolio companies. It operates 4 different investment groups specializing in corporate credit, private equity, venture growth equity, and real estate, which, by the way, they're buying a gaming company. What the fuck? Okay. Quote, we are excited to join Columbus Nova's impressive roster of companies, said John Smedley, president of Daybreak Game Company, and he was, in fact, the leader of Sony Online Entertainment before that. In a recent tweet, the president also said he can't wait to make Xbox One games following the acquisition, and that all of SOE's existing games are still under Daybreak's care and will continue to be. So that's obviously a big deal for us gamers, just because it was obviously a Sony company, and so we never saw any of those games on Xbox One, and now we will. Which, by the way, would be so weird to see EverQuest on an Xbox One. That would just kind of blow my mind. H1Z1's early access launched June 15th, and although players will be able to get a taste of the survival horrors, game mechanics, and world, Smedley was quick to warn that it is not yet a finished game, and anyone expecting it to be may want to hold off until the full release. So, what do you think? This is weird to see this happening.
Yeah, this was unexpected because, I guess the writing was on the wall, because when we go to events, when we go to E3, for example, when you book your Sony appointments, you book the SOE appointments very separately through a separate PR team, and it's a definite separate booking. So they were always separate, but with Sony in the title, you feel like it's something that's safe. It would be like if Microsoft was like, we're selling off Microsoft Game Studios. It's just something you don't expect.
Yeah.
That your name is in their name. It's your thing. It's your arm of your thing. Like, here's our hardware and here's our software arm. And this is like, we're getting rid of our online software arm, and it was unexpected. But on the upside for gamers, like Sarcasmo saying in chat, he called it before you even got to the part of the story where it does open up the ability to put these games onto the Xbox and other platforms.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, they are probably going to make a lot more money off it. You just got to wonder how it's going to affect the studio, obviously. And to be fair, Sony Online Entertainment has always, well, at least for the last, I'd say 5 years, kind of had a lot of missteps. EverQuest Next was supposed to be out like 2 or 3 years ago. It's still in development. PlanetSide 2, which did decently well as a free-to-play game, hasn't really created the numbers that they thought it was going to. And by the way, PlanetSide 2 is actually a very great game. It is, the barrier now is actually that it is free-to-play. It's kind of pay-to-play right now. So there's a lot of concerns there. But it's a great game. I actually played it for a little bit. So there's some missteps that Sony has had for a while. And I think most people have noticed them. Even with the latest zombie survival horror game, they've said already in beta there's issues with pay-to-win sort of scenarios happening. So maybe getting some new blood in there and being able to pump some much-needed funds into that company and sort of let it breathe could be a great thing. It could be a really cool thing. It's just weird to not have Sony Online Entertainment anymore. I think that's what it is for me. I've been a part of that gaming atmosphere for a long time. I played EverQuest 2. So it's just weird to not have that.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make, especially because the investment firm they're in real estate.
They're just like a conglomerate. They just buy up. We bought a frozen yogurt store and Sony Online Entertainment. Wow, they got all the bases covered.
It's like when you go to like a grocery store and like you have this idea of the list that's in your head, and then you come home with like shit that you never were gonna even buy. It's like they just saw it on a shelf. They're like, "Hey, we got these Cheetos. Do you also want to get this Sony company?" And they're like, "Yeah,
might as well. It was in the checkout line."
Exactly. It's like on sale. We just got it on the way out. It's fantastic. So I don't know, Derek. What do you think about this story?
Jay, this story has me saying, "What the fuck?" And on that, why don't we hop on over to the mailbag and voicemails? Arthur Maloney asks, with the announcement that Windows 10 will be able to stream games from your Xbox to your PC, do you think that this is the first shot at muscling in on Steam's territory?
I think they've been trying to do this for a while, to be honest with you. I don't think this is the first, move into this area. But I don't think Xbox cares about the PC side of Steam. The thing is, Xbox doesn't really worry about Steam. not so much as like maybe they'll copy their methodology and the way they do things, but I don't know that they actually care about Steam. I don't. They do.
I don't even think the announcement was that big. I think the announcement would have been bigger if it was the other way around.
Yes, exactly.
You could take your fucking badass high-res PC game and stream it to your TV using your Xbox as the conduit.
That to me would be because, well, and here's the weird part. Obviously, like I'm a PC gamer, so that fits well with my dichotomy. I own a system that can do those things, and I don't think they'd ever do that for that exact reason. Is the whole point of buying the Xbox is to be like this bargain entry into gaming where you don't have to spend a ton of money. So, but I totally agree. I mean, it would be way more shocking if that was the case. Well, oh my God, I can take this rig that sits in this little room with this small monitor and I can beam it over to my Xbox One and use the controller if I want to.
Yep.
That would be pretty cool.
Yeah,
so
that's the direction they need to go. And really it's not downplaying the importance to the Xbox that way. You're still buying an Xbox. You can still play Xbox games that are in that closed ecosystem of everybody's got equal hardware. But if you also want to play a PC game, it's just another feature off the checkoff list. It's like the opposite of Sony PlayStation TV or whatever they're calling the Vita TV or whatever they call it nowadays. The thing you can put in another room and stream your PS4 to the TV. It's the other way around from the PC there. It's like using the NVIDIA thing where you can take your NVIDIA games and use your NVIDIA Shield and stream them to that. I think that's the direction. And maybe this is just the first step is like, let's get it going one way, then we can get it going the other way. And I do like that systems have kind of Windows 10 underlying in some way, shape, and form. So their DirectX is compliant on both sides and everything's lockstep, because that means that games are going to be, there's more potential for games to be developed for the higher end DirectX and show off this shit on both the Xbox One and the PC. But
it's still cool. That's the thing I want to take away from it is like the stuff that they're doing in the entire, I guess, environment or ecosystem rather, is amazing. I think finally we're seeing some parity between all of these things that we have in our pockets and our tablets and whatnot. This is a great step in the right direction. This is a great movement for Windows, because really, if you look at what Apple's doing, if you own an iPhone and you own a Mac, they are the best pairing that they've had ever. My messages all come in. I can text from my Mac when I'm sitting on the couch. Everything between those two devices now is in sync as of the last update. And I think Microsoft knows that's coming, and they know that's a big deal. And the cool thing about Microsoft is they have way more of those things right now, because they've got the phone, they've got the 360, they've got the tablet, Surface, the operating system itself, and they're in more homes than Apple. It's a great chance for them. So this is a good step in the right direction.
Yeah. Plus, not to mention, it's like getting a free PlayStation TV if you think about it that way.
For free.
Like let's say, you're in a house, your wife's not a gamer, but you are. You've been playing fucking whatever game you're playing all night. Now she's having a bachelor watching party with all her little girlfriends come over, and they're like, "Hey, let's watch The Bachelor. Let's see who gets the roast tonight." And you're like, "That's okay, honey. I'm going to go in the office." And you go in the office, boom, you fire up your Windows 10 PC, and now you're playing your fucking whatever game you were playing from the other room. You're in there, and you don't even care that they stole the TV from you, because you got your game where you were at.
True, and it's a great way to compete against Sony for that very reason. If you're looking to buy a PS4 or you're looking to buy an Xbox, we say this a million times, if you're looking to buy the two, all things being equal, you're kind of crazy not to buy an Xbox One. It simply is going to work with more things that you probably already have in your house. Not saying you do, but you probably do. So,
exactly.
There you go.
All right.
And
Altius asks, how do you two feel the joystick closure will affect the industry as a whole? Is this the tip of the iceberg or an isolated incident?
Tip of the iceberg. And this isn't just for gaming. I worked at a newspaper. A lot of you guys know that. And one of the hardest things facing any newspaper, and this is really even for online as well, is how the fuck do we make money now? Online advertising is the lowest it's ever been since the history of the internet. It's only going to get lower. You're talking about cents on the impression at this point, where it's just useless. We're very familiar with it as the owners of Tool to Play. We know that we get dick for any click-throughs. It's not even, at points it's almost not even worth having the advertisement on your site at all. It conflicts with your content and you don't get anything from it. So a lot of the time, it's not even worth doing. You almost want to fund your website from other means if you can. We can't, so that's not an option for us. But for the most part, this really is, I think, the beginning of what you're going to see. There's really hard to have a staff of editorials that you can pay in any real way to write stories for you, especially at the breadth that you saw at Joystick. So. Yeah. I don't know where the money's going to come from. And I honestly suspect this will be happening more and more as we go along. I really do.
Yeah. I think that what it really boils down to is it goes back to, the gaming industry. You see it in the development end first and foremost. If you want to be a software developer, you can write game software, you're writing in C, and you're going to make X. You work for a company that's not a gaming company. You write in C and you make 10 times X.
Right.
And that parallel, because there's not that, like, we see these giant numbers of games sold and stuff, but the cost to make these games is so phenomenal that the profit levels are so small that this has to trickle down fully through the industry. So, you know what? Your gaming sites that want to pay people, and that's a huge overhead, a huge amount of money that has to go out. So I think we'll start seeing a resurgence of things like our Tool to Play news team. Sarcasmo Jones helms it up. He's got a huge bunch of people that write our news for us. And, we don't post 40 news stories a day that some just because, you have a quota and you have to post some bullshit. Like, what they put up is good. It's well written. It's pertinent. And it's really from the heart. It's things that people care about and they write about. And when it goes up, it's something that's unique and it's not just there because someone has to meet a quota. I start seeing more sites come up with these independent news from people that they're being paid, but are writing because they love games. And that's it's sad, but in the industry, we're not like the amount of money that comes in is so segregated. Like the top 1% of the game industry, I would say probably makes 90 to 95% of the money that comes in.
Absolutely. That's absolutely
your Peter Moores, your Richard Garrett's, those guys. That's your top tier. Everybody else is splitting this such a small pool. That's why most of your video game developers are guys right out of college getting paid the bare minimum. And I'm in the fucking gaming industry only because they haven't talked to their buddy that's working for a database company or
right. Yeah. It's like I'm making $150,000 a year. I'm sitting in my boxers doing nothing. You're making $32,000 a year. You work every day, an hour of your life, and you're making games. Yeah. And you'll be fired in 2 years when the game. Congratulations, you're in the gaming industry. Yep. I mean, it's rough. And in terms of the advertising tip, the other big problem with the gaming industry, like Derek said, is even though we're a big industry now, we're huge, right? We're still a niche within what we are. And so that means when you think about advertising on a gaming website, all you really see, if you have noticed, is gaming advertising. So we funnel in the same money that everyone's like, you're reading a story about Halo, you're seeing an advertisement for some, I don't know, Kill Streak or something, some fucking other game, right? And so all of that money is really in the same ecosystem. Maybe you'll see like on IGN, because they have other content, you'll see advertising for movies and things that have way larger budgets where you actually can get some revenue in. And those are where the tie-ins, where those companies can make some money. If you can have a tie-in to a movie and then that movie is advertised on your site, you can maybe pull in some decent revenue. But if your whole world is gaming, it's very hard. Like, where the fuck are you going to find this revenue from? There's just no money there. And again, if you see a site like Joystick, when this happens to someone like them, that's really is going to be kind of pointing out the future. I think that you're going to see probably in the near future even. I don't even know if it's going to be that far down the line. We've seen it, I think, before Joystick. The AOL also closed down the Warcraft blog, which was 15 years old at the time. One of the most visited websites on the internet at one point is now gone. I think you're going to see that more and more as time goes on, sadly. But I think Derek's right. I think that the industry is really just going to split off into a lot of the smaller blogs with low traffic that are really built to speak to that community specifically, to speak to the community that they talk to on a daily basis. So, yeah, it's crazy, man. It's crazy stuff.
Messed up. All right. Well, great questions. And as always, great question. Altius, you're pro as fuck. if any of you have questions or feedback, give us a call, 773-527-2961. Email us at podcast@tooltoplay.com. You can also comment on this episode's thread on the Tool to Play homepage. And sponsors, remember, if we had a sponsor and you supported, that would help support Still Got Game. But right now, we're out looking for sponsors. If you want to sell something, email us, podcast@tooltoplay.com. Call us, 773-527-2961. Tell us what you're selling, we'll tell you what you're going to pay us. Boom, done. And while we're here, it's not really a sponsor, but Code Monkey, former co-host of the show, he was on here for episode 300, and he threw out a little bonus to you people out there. He runs now AwesomeDrinks.com, which sells all kinds of bar stuff and all this, basically drinking gear. Not alcohol itself, but it'll sell like bitters and all the weird shit that you use that drink straight vodka. But some people like to mix their drinks and they need makers and strainers and all this other crazy stuff. And he sells all that stuff on his site, AwesomeDrinks.com. And he gave us a coupon code exclusive to the show. So if you want to get 20% off of all your shit, that works all the way up until February 27th, which was a pretty long running code. But you go to AwesomeDrinks.com, use the code 202P. That's the number 2, the letter O, the number 2, the letter P, and you will get 20% off your order. So thanks, Code. And I still have all kinds of shit in my cart at work, and I just haven't checked out yet. So I am definitely placing an order myself because I like to save money. All right. Well, I guess Twitter us up. You can find everything Tool to Play related at twitter.com/Tool to Play. Everything podcast related at twitter.com/still_got_game. I, king of the fucking internet, god of everything that's fucking holy, I'm at twitter.com/Derek Nolan.
And of course, you can find me at twitter.com/DudeIRock.
Facebook the fuck out of us. Facebook.com/Tool to Play. Facebook.com/Derek Nolan.
Facebook.com/DudeIRock.
We got this YouTube channel, YouTube.com/Tool to Play. Go there for all of Tool to Play's video content. Everything that we've ever done live or otherwise shows up on YouTube.com/Tool to Play, including former show hits motherfucking
the best show on the internet.
Yes, hit show was fucking dope. And you can find all past episodes of that there. And, put in the comments you'd like him to bring it back. Just maybe he will. Maybe. He wants to bring it back, and he's just looking for the right amount of motivation. We also have an app. It's on the iTunes App Store and that communist bullshit Android App Store. It's called the Tool to Play app. Go there, search for Tool to Play, download the app, use it. Let us know what you think because it has some deficiencies. Some would say many, many, many deficiencies. Some would say the most deficiencies of any app that does not cost me money, which really that's what you expect from a free app is some deficiencies. But the reason why we put the deficiencies in there is because we're looking for comments to take them out.
That's a great, I love that. It's fantastic.
Yeah. So they are placed there to see what people wanted. So download the app for free, check it out. Let us know what you want changed, and we will change it. That's how this system works. That way we can provide you exactly what you want for a free app. Also, please rate and review this podcast in iTunes. Go to iTunes, give us 5 stars. That's the most you can give us according to iTunes right now until someone hacks it. So 5 stars is what we need. And if you are so inclined, write us a nice little review. These guys are gods. I love the show. I like to listen on the way to work. It really hurts my pussy when they're not on for 2 weeks or whatever our comment was earlier. That probably was not the exact comment that Donna gave, and that might be offensive slightly, but, no, Jay's saying no. He's saying that was good. Yeah. And Hit is saying that he needs a drink. But go there, 5 stars, write something nice. Last but not least, twitch.tv/Tool to Play. That's where you can see us live each and every Monday night, 8 p.m. Eastern. 7 p.m. Pacific. No, 5 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. fucking that fake middle time zone. Also, all kinds of other Tool to Play content ends up on our twitch.tv Tool to Play page. That is Hitman all the time. He's streaming fucking Destiny, everything else. We're going to have a whole bunch of new shows. I know that our editor-in-chief, Sarcasmo Jones, is going to have a new show coming up very shortly on the channel, and it's going to be something that you are all interested in, especially if you were you're a racing guy inclined, or maybe you're not from the northern states. Either way, Sarcasmo's got you covered because that's the demographic he's aiming for. And even if you're not in that demographic, you're like, I want to see what that demographic's all about. And you're going to want to watch it too. So we have plenty of live content here. And definitely twitch.tv/tooltoplay. And if nothing else, show up each and every Monday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. And on that, Jay, why don't we wrap this fantastic fucking return episode up? I am Dirk D. Smooth Nolan.
And I am Joel, dude. I rock Albert.
Even teams.
Even teams.